So hi everyone, I'm Santosh Kumar from Patna, and I did my master's from IIT Bombay. So here I am to solve two questions actually. The first one says there is a convex lens actually given to us. A thin convex lens made up of two materials with a refractive indices N1 and N2 as shown in figure. So the figure is actually this one. So there is a convex lens. The half part of it is made up of one refractive index, say N1. The other one is made up of N2, material of refractive indices N2. Okay. So a thin convex lens made up of two materials with refractive indices N1 and N2 as shown in the figure. The radius of curvature of the left and right spherical surfaces, so they are of the same radius actually, are equal. F is the focal. Now here the question begins actually, the statement of the question actually. So F is the focal length of the lens when N1 is equal to N2 is equal to N. So when N1 is equal to N2 is equal to N. So the focal length of the lens at that time is F actually. So F is the focal length of the lens when N1 equal to N2 equal to N. Now the focal length is F plus delta F when N1 is equal to N. That means when N1 is replaced by N value and N2 is replaced by N plus delta N, then your focal length becomes F plus delta F. Now the conditions given to us are assuming delta N much less than N minus 1 and the value of N is between 1 and 2. The correct statements or statement is or are, it is multiple selective question. So if delta N by N less than 0, that means delta N by N is negative, then delta F by F equal to greater than 0. The second option is for N is equal to 1.5 and delta N is equal to 10 to the power minus 3 and F is equal to 20 centimeter. The value of magnitude of delta F will be 0.02 centimeter, round off to second decimal place. Okay. So and the third option says the magnitude of delta F by F is less than magnitude of delta N by N. The fourth option says the relation between delta F and delta N by N remains unchanged if both the convex surfaces are replaced by concave surfaces of the same radius of curvature. So that's the core. That is all about questions. So let us solve this particular question actually. So let me write the given conditions first. The conditions given to us were the value of N is between 1 and 2. Then the value of delta N is much less than N minus 1. Then if N1, so first of all, let me draw the lens actually. So this was the lens given to us. Half of which is made up of N1. The other half is made up of N2, material of N2 refractive index. Now, so the question says when N1 is equal to N2 is equal to N, then focal length is equal to F. This is the first part, first condition given to us. Then the second condition says N1 is equal to N, that is N1 is replaced by N, and N2 is equal to N plus delta N. Then focal length is F plus delta F. And we have to solve the question now. So what will happen is right now, so when N1, so we have the standard formula 1 upon F, this is Lensmaker's formula, is equal to N minus 1 by R1 minus 1 upon R2. So that means when it is placed in, when a lens is made up of refractive index, material of refractive index N, then this one is R1 is the radius of curvature of the first surface, R2 is the radius of curvature of the second surface. Then we have this particular relation. Okay. Now what will happen is we will utilize this particular thing in order to solve this particular question actually. So अभी ध्यान से देखते हैं, so it is we can divide this particular into two parts for the second part. And this one could be solved easily by using, utilizing it in one formula only. That means when n1 is equal to n2 is equal to n, so we have the formula. So 1 upon f is equal to n minus 1. And we know that R1, value of R1 is R, since it is convex part, right? And R2 will be equal to minus R because it is a concave part of the lens, right? So now what we have is 1 upon R1, that is 1 upon R minus 1 upon minus 1 upon R. So this will be actually equal to n minus 1 into 2 by R. So this is the first relation that we got from it. Okay. Now the second part says the second part could be solved, by considering this lens to be made up of two parts. The first one is made up of n1. The second one is made up of n2. We can consider this one to be the one part to be made up of convex, and the other part is made up of the other part is plane. That means we can consider this separately to be like this. So it is made up of n1 refractive indices. The other one is made up of n2 refractive indices, and this one is plane part, so it will have radius of curvature infinity. The second part also, that means the second lens, the first surface is plane one, so that has got radius of curvature infinity, and the second part will have radius of curvature minus r. And these two lenses could be considered to be placed in contact, and we can thereafter find the combined focal length. Okay, so let's find out that. So if you look at the first part, this first part of the lens, then we will apply 1 upon f1. Let the first part, the focal length of the first part be n1. Sorry, no, f1. Right. So that is 1 upon f1 will be equal to n1 minus n, that is n minus 1, into the first part has got radius of curvature r1 is equal to r minus 1 upon infinity. The second part 1 upon f2, that is f2 is the, so actually they put the answer. So this has got focal length say f1, this has got say focal length f2, right? And we have, what we will do is we'll combine this, that means place two lenses in contact to make this particular system, and we will have the combined focal length, that is f plus delta f. Okay, so 1 upon f2 will be equal to n2, that is n plus delta n minus 1, into the first part, the lenses has got infinite radius of curvature, minus the second part is r2 is equal to minus 1 by r. So here we go, that is equal to n plus delta n minus 1, and this will be plus 1 upon r. Okay, so this is 1 upon f2. Now the combined focal length, which is 1 upon f plus delta f. So we know that the power of the combination will be equal to sum of the power of the both the lenses, but that means when two lenses are placed in contact, the power of the combination becomes the sum of the power, algebraic sum of the power of the two lenses, right? Okay, so this will become equal to 1 upon f1 plus 1 upon f2. So 1 upon f1 is n minus 1, 1 upon r, 1 upon f2 is n plus delta n minus 1, 1 upon r. So if you take 1 by r to be common, so this will become 2n plus delta n minus 2. And this is 1 upon f plus delta f. So let this be second equation. Now, moving to the next part. So this was the first equation, that is 1 upon f is equal to n minus 1 into 2 by r. So what we will do is, so 1 upon 2, the first equation by second equation, the first equation was, so let me write it here. So 1 upon f is equal to n minus 1, 2 by r. So this was the first equation. The second equation was 1 upon f plus delta f is equal to 2n plus delta n minus 2 into 1 upon r. So this was the second equation. So 1 by 2. So dividing first equation by second equation will imply. So this will give you f plus delta f by f. So that will be equal to n minus 1 2 by r by 2n plus delta n minus 2 into 1 by r. So this r will get cancelled, and this will be 2n minus 2 upon 2n plus delta n minus 2. So this is the value we are looking. So the solving the left part, we will get 1 plus delta f by f, that will be equal to 2n minus 2 upon 2n plus 2n plus delta n minus 2. ठीक है. अब देखो, this will imply, अगर इसको उधर ले जाओ 1 को, so delta f by f, that will be equal to 2n minus 2, take this one to be LCM, and there will be minus 1 this side, so this will be minus 2n minus delta n plus 2. So 2n will get cancelled, and you will have plus 2n minus 2 will get cancelled. So this will be minus delta n upon 2n plus delta n minus 2. Okay, so this will be delta f by f. So this will also be equal to dividing this to be by both this, dividing both numerator and denominator by n, we will get minus delta n by n upon 2 plus delta n by n minus 2. So this is the equation, minus 2 by n. Okay, this is the equation what we are getting finally in terms of delta f by f and delta n by n. So now rubbing all the things. So you have delta f by f is equal to minus delta n upon 2n plus delta n minus 2, that is equal to minus delta n by n upon 2 plus delta n by n minus 2 by n. So this is the equation which we are getting finally. Now, yeah, okay. So the first part says, the first option says that is if delta n by n is negative less than 0. So keeping this here, so delta f by f will be equal to minus delta n by n. So if this thing is negative, obviously that means negative, this will become positive. That means the numerator becomes positive for sure. Now, looking at the denominator, see delta n is very small. From here you can see delta n was much less than n minus 1, and the value of n lies between 1 and 2. Okay. Now the next part says, yeah, here it is. So n by minus 2 by n. So you have the value of n between 1 and 2. So reciprocate it, we will get 1 upon n lies between 1 and 1 by 2. Now, so now what will happen is 2 by n is less than equal to, multiplying both the sides by 2, now see, so the value of 2 by n will lie between 1 and 2, right? So obviously, so if you look at this part, this delta n by n is very small, right? Because delta n is much less than n minus 1. So this being very small, if you subtract this, 2 by n is less than 2 and greater than 1, right? So that means this will be positive. And when you subtract a very small amount, so this whole thing will become positive. So positive by positive. So negative, negative, there was positive, numerator was already positive, and positive by positive will give you something positive. So that is why if delta n by n is less than 0, delta f by f has to be greater than 0. So that was for the first part. So that means your A was correct. So A is correct. Now the second part, it says what it says actually is for n is equal to 1.5 and delta n is equal to 10 to the power minus 3 and this f is equal to 20 centimeter. So keeping this in the first part only, so you have delta f by f is equal to minus delta n, that is minus 10 to the power minus 3 upon 2 times 1.5, that is 3, plus delta n is actually, so your delta n is 10 to the power minus 3 minus 2. So this gives you minus 0.001 upon 3 minus 2 is 1 plus something. So this is 1.001 and this is equal to delta f upon. So this implies delta f by f is equal to minus 0. This f is 20 centimeter, 001 upon 1.001 and then to 20 centimeter. So when you solve this particular thing, you will be getting around 1.99, sorry, 0.0199 something. So when you what to say? Yeah. So when you actually reduce it, so reduce it to 2 decimal places. So what you will getting is approximately it will be 0.02 centimeter. That's all. So that means the second option is also correct. That means B part is also correct. Now let us look at this third part. So from the second part only you can see delta n was from B part only. Delta n was given to be 10 to the power minus 3 and n was given to be 1.5. So delta n by n 10 to the power minus 3 upon 1.5, that is 0.001 upon 1.5, and we have delta f to be 0. Upon f will be 0.02 upon 20 centimeter. So this will be around 0.001. So you can clearly see this is 0.01, that is delta n by n will be less than delta f by f, right? So delta magnitude part, if you see, delta n by n is coming out to be less than delta f by n, right? But in the option it is delta f by f modulus less than delta n by n, which is obviously contradicting this fact, contradicting this particular question, the data given in this question. That obviously means this option is wrong. So the option B, if you look at the option B very carefully, this already accounts for option C to be incorrect. So C is incorrect. So option C is incorrect. Now the last part is correct. The D part is correct because what it says is if you replace the convex surfaces with concave part, that means of the same and they are of the same radius of curvature. So now the condition is this one, n1 and n2. So what it says is, so will the equations for delta f by f and will the relation between delta f by f and delta n by n, so will they change or not? So they will obviously not change because once you are making similarly when you are taking the equations for this particular length, it will merely bring a negative sign in both the equations, and when you take the ratio, the negative signs will go away and you will be getting the same equations. You can solve this for yourself. So coming to the next question, which is actually, so in Melday's experiment, it was found that the string vibrates in 3 loops when 8 gram was placed in the pan. So when 8 gram is placed here in the pan actually, so this actually vibrates in 3 loops. So this vibrates in 3 loops. So the question asked is what must be, what that means what mass should be placed in the pan to make the string vibrate in 5 loops. So let me tell you first of all Melday's experiment. So it is actually, there is some external source here which vibrates with certain frequency. So the moment you are putting some weight here, some mass here, actually what happens when the frequency of the external oscillator that resonates with the frequency of the string for this particular mass placed here, so this will start making loop, right? And that loop will be clearly visible to us when you look at that very carefully, right? Now what the question says is, so if you look at this one, suppose I'm just given an example, suppose this is making 4 loops, right? So that means 4 times lambda by 2 will be equal to length of the string which is actually oscillating, right? Or which is actually forming a standing wave, sorry, not oscillating, it is forming a standing wave. So that will be equal to this will imply lambda will be equal to 2L upon 4. Similarly, suppose that when it is making p loops, p number of loops, then what will happen? P times lambda by 2 will be equal to length of the string which is forming standing wave, right? So that time this lambda will be 2L upon p, and it again I'm saying p is the number of loops it is making. So p times lambda by 2 will be equal to L. And now what will happen? So you will have the velocity, the frequency as v upon lambda. So where v is the velocity in case of a string is given by under root v is equal to under root t by mu, where mu is the mass per unit length of the string and t is the tension in the string. So here T will be equal to weight of the mass attached here, that is mg. So we are neglecting the mass of the pan here because nothing is given about the pan, right? And T will be equal to mg. So V will be equal to under root mg upon mu. So now we are putting the these things here. So lambda is 2L upon P. So it will become P upon 2L under root mg by mu. So this is the final equation for this particular question, right? So now the question says, so actually this frequency will remain the same, right? Because the external source remains the same. So that means for 3 loop, the equation will be, so nu will be equal to 3 loops, P is equal to 3. So 3 upon 2L upon mass is 8 gram, that means 0.008 kg into G upon mu, because mu will remain the same for both the cases, right? That is mass per unit length of the string, right, which is actually oscillating or which is actually forming a standing wave, right? So the next one is when it forms 5 loops, we have to find the mass that is to be placed in the pan, right? So the next one will be, so this should be equal to 5 upon 2L, keeping P is equal to 5 now, so that at that time it will be forming 5 loops, and we have to find that corresponding mass here, mg upon mu, right? So we will, because the external source is having the same frequency, so that is why it will not change. So we'll solve this equation to get the value of this m here, right? So 3 upon 2L, so let's cut it down here. So this mu will get cancelled, 2L will get cancelled. And when you square it, that becomes 9 times 0.008 into G, and that will be equal to 25 times mg. So this Gg gets cancelled, and now we have mass is equal to 9 upon 25 into 0.008 gram. So once you solve this particular thing, you will get it approximately 9 into 8, that is 0.072 gram upon 25. So this will be around 2 and here 408 into 10 to the power minus 3 gram. So this will be 2.0. This will be 0.0025 4, yeah, 24 gram or 0. If you approximate it to the 3 decimal places, this will be around 0.002 gram. That's all. So I hope you like the solution and found this solution to be very useful. Thank you. That's all.